Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Valentine babes of the day. It's a day all about love, baby. What better way to celebrate it than with beautiful women in love-themed pictures? Angie Dickinson. She was a star long before her TV series Policewoman, but that show for sure secured her as a Hollywood legend. As a matter of fact, Policewoman was at least partly responsible for the incredible surge of women joining the police across the country. It also sparked many other TV shows and movies about women cops. Pamela Anderson. Wow, she came a long way. In the 1990s, when you said hot blonde actress, Pamela Anderson was the first name that came to mind. She was big time. She first got famous for her Playboy magazine appearances and being the original Tool Girl on Home Improvement. When Pamela started on Baywatch, she was a megastar. She really didn't stop being a big name, she just simply stopped working as much. She was noted for her rather wild lifestyle and for not being a great actress, but she was liked for other things. I thought she acted well enough for the shows she was in. The Barbed Wire movie was cool. As the years have gone on, though, her acting has improved and people have taken notice. Marilyn Maxwell. She was an acting and singing star in the 1940s through the 60s. She was also infamous for her numerous relationships and affairs with married men like Frank Sinatra and Bob Hope. I really think this picture of her, popping out of a giant heart-shaped box of chocolates, is really cool. Marilyn Monroe. Of course, she's going to be here. If you're talking about glamour and romance and actresses from the past, who else but Marilyn Monroe? She knew how to take a picture. I might upset some people here, but I think she was a better model than an actress. I'm not saying she was a bad actress by any means, just a better model. I think she would have been happier in life if she stayed a full-time model and didn't pursue acting. I made a Babe of the Day video about Marilyn Monroe. I would like to say that all those movies and documentaries made about her were just playing up all her personal problems for dramatic effect, but no, she really was messed up, and she paid the ultimate price for it. I do think what she was trying to do, through her photos and movies, was very positive, and that's what people really need to remember about her. Check out her video just as soon as you can, but not yet, because here's another Marilyn Monroe picture. Just classic. If you look closely at her modeling photos, especially at the expression on her face, she looks happier than when you see her on film or in public appearances. I really do think she just liked doing this more. Betty Hutton. Yes, I do love Betty Hutton. She could really do just about anything. She was an actress, singer, comedian, dancer. I don't think there was much she couldn't do. If you see her in any movie or TV show, she's the life of the party and steals about every scene she's in. One of my favorite things she did was the movie The Perils of Pauline. It was funny, full of action, and loosely based on the real life of Pearl White, a silent film actress famous for her dangerous stunt work and establishing the classic damsel in distress type of character. As you can tell by this photo, Betty was a master of being goofy and sexy at the same time, but in the blink of an eye, she could play things serious too. Queenie Love. Let's just say she's one of those type of actress girls. Oh, alright, she made dirty movies. But she did a lot of clean pictures too. Back when MySpace was still a thing, she had a big following. This photo is really cool. The red lingerie, the heart-shaped pattern of rose petals. Whoever thought of this photo had a really good idea. Mary Castle. I've never been able to describe this photo, but I like Mary Castle so much, and she looks so good in it, that it still makes the cut. It's apparently a cellophane dress with hearts on it. She's holding up a couple of hearts, and there's hearts on the floor. Talk about an underrated actress. She was good in everything she was in. A lot of people thought she resembled Rita Hayworth, which was a good thing, and she worked with a lot of notable people. Still, she just couldn't break out as a big star. Her most famous role is Frankie Adams, the first female partner of railroad detective Matt Clark in the TV series Stories of the Century. This was a cool show, as it was basically Dragnet in the Old West. Every episode was based around a real-life Western outlaw and the things he or she actually did. The characters of Frankie Adams and Matt Clark, played by Jim Davis, were fictional replacements for the real-life law enforcement officers who took down these criminals. For some reason, Mary left the show mid-series and was replaced by Christine Miller as a different character, who also did a good job. Although it's never been exactly specified, Miller later said that Mary was let go. Sadly, due to a lot of personal problems, physical and mental, Mary's career went downhill after that and never recovered. I made a Babe of the Day video about Mary Castle. Check it out. Rita Hayworth. Speaking of Rita Hayworth, here she is. Unlike Mary Castle, who a lot of people deem to look alike, Rita was one of the biggest actresses the silver screen ever produced. She had a lot of troubles too, not unlike Mary Castle. But publicly, Rita presented herself very well and seemed very likable. She was a definite glamour girl, but she also had acting talent. I'd watch her in anything. Rita Hayworth. Again, how lucky are you? She could wear anything. A swimsuit, a dress, a sweater, anything, and still look just as alluring. A common gag in movies is when they take a woman that looks rather dowdy, like a librarian, then, with a change of clothes, make her look like a vixen. It had to be harder for Rita, because I think she'd look just as good wearing glasses with her hair tied up in a bun. You really couldn't make her look dumpy. Rita Hayworth is another one who has been honored with a Babe of the Day video. Check it out. Gracie Allen. I could go on and on about Gracie, but for the sake of this video, I'll keep it brief. She was the real-life wife and comedy partner of George Burns. She's the reason he became famous. That's not my opinion, it's solid fact. Even George said so. As a matter of fact, when she retired, due to failing health and eventually died, it took George a while to redefine himself and become the huge solo star that he became. Straight up, there was no one who could do what Gracie did like she did it. Her comedic timing was incredible. There wasn't anyone who could miss the point of everything and just run with it like Gracie. The Gracie character wasn't necessarily stupid, she just misunderstood everything, and by running off half-cocked, she caused problems for everyone. No one was safe. To top it off, Gracie was cutesy, she had a charming, squeaky voice, and she could dance. She was amusing in every way imaginable, right down to the pitter-pitter way she walked. There will never be another Gracie Allen. Sid Charisse. She was an actress and dancer, famous for her legs. In the early part of her career, she was commonly seen in musical films. By the 1960s, when musicals were no longer a major genre of films, she gave up dancing and got into some rather interesting roles in movies and television. She really did get better as she got older. This is a clever picture, with Sid coming out of a heart-shaped box of chocolates on its side. You've got to hand it to these pin-up photos of the Golden Age. They had some really clever prop work. Barbara Nichols. Oh yeah. One of the best things about an attractive actress is if she can make you laugh. Whenever you see Barbara Nichols, you know she's going to do or say something funny. She appeared in a lot of shows, under a lot of different character names, but she basically played one stock character. Barbara, on screen, played an attractive knockout blonde, but extremely dumb, entirely unsophisticated, with a squeaky voice that almost kind of grates on your nerves, and physically very tough. In an episode of the Jack Benny program, she scared actor Jimmy Stewart. She was also a recurring star on The Bob Cummings Show, and in 2 memorable episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies, to name just a few of her many credits. I wish there were more memorable character actresses like Barbara Nichols nowadays. Instead, there are just a lot of actresses who appear in stuff, but their acting work is inconsistent. Barbara was dependable. Joan Leslie, another popular starlet of the Golden Age. I've got to say that out of all the actresses from that time, she probably had the most interesting wardrobe of dresses and gowns. In an era of fancy exotic outfits, Joan Leslie wore some of the fanciest and most exotic. She's not a name a lot of people know today for one simple reason. She largely put her acting career aside for the sake of her family. A number of actresses have done that, and I've always found it admirable, but it was Hollywood's loss for sure. Gotta love this unique Queen of Hearts outfit set against a giant playing card. Dorothy Hart. She's just pretty, and that's all there is to it. Her film career was rather short, lasting only from 1947 to 1952. Even at that, she was largely in supporting roles. However, she did play Jane in one of her last movies, Tarzan Savage Fury. I think she was just about to break out large, but she left acting to join the American Association for the United Nations. Barbara Bates. This is a really cute photo of her on a swing, set inside a heart. These classic pinups are just clever. Barbara is an actress who could have done so much more. She was pretty, she was likable on screen, and I even think she was a good actress. But her life and acting career was plagued by her own erratic behavior and chronic depression. She started acting in 1945 and struggled quite a bit until 1950. Then her career started to pick up, but the self-destructive tendencies didn't. In 1954, she became a regular on the TV sitcom It's a Great Life. After 26 episodes, they had to write her out of the show due to all her mental problems. The show continued without her and, as a matter of fact, lasted 2 seasons. It probably could have lasted longer than that, but the original direction of the show, with Barbara's character, was changed quite a bit when she was dropped. By 1958, her career was pretty much done, except for one last role in 1962. Sadly, due to personal problems stacked on top of her emotional instability, Barbara killed herself by carbon monoxide poisoning in 1969. When you see fun pictures like this with pretty girls who had a lot going for them, you don't like to think that such darkness hangs over them. It's just a pity that she couldn't have enjoyed life more. Terry Moore. She was a very successful, long-lasting actress who started out as a child actress. At the time of this video, she is still alive today at the age of 96 and has acted as recently as 2019. Not bad considering she started in 1940. I always liked her as an actress, but she's noted for her many relationships and marriages, particularly her relationship to eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes, and a marriage that she claims was real, but totally erased from record by Hughes. To this day, the courts still reject her claims that she was ever married to Howard Hughes. So was she? Probably. Their relationship lasted for 20 years after their alleged divorce, until Hughes died. In pictures like this, she looks so innocent. Terry Moore. It's Terry times 2, lucky for you. This picture, in sharp contrast to the first one, is actually pretty sexy. She's sort of hiding behind a heart-shaped shield. Awesome. Ann Miller. Certainly one of the prettiest women ever put on camera. Anne was a popular dancer and actress of the Golden Age, and quite good at both. She also had a real talent for modeling, and really knew how to pose. Busting out of a lace-trimmed heart is a cool effect, and you've got to love that ta-da expression. Ann Miller, again, painting a Valentine. I've got a few things to say about this one. First, any pinup, cheesecake type photo you see of Ann Miller always does a real good job of showing off her legs. This photo is no exception. Second, and I know I've said it a lot, you've just got to admire all the different scenarios they came up with in these pictures. They're not all the same with a woman standing in front of a heart, although there are plenty of those too. These pictures are fun to look at, no matter who is in them. Anne Jeffries, another painter. I really like Anne Jeffries. She enjoyed a long career, and although she didn't always enjoy great success, she was in a lot of good projects and was talented and beautiful in all of them. She was the best ever Tess Trueheart in 2 Dick Tracy feature films. A big credit, and one of her best remembered, was as the sexy ghost Marion Kirby in the Topper TV series, lasting for 2 seasons of 78 episodes. She did this opposite of her husband, Robert Sterling, who played her ghost husband, George Kirby. Later in life, she had a really long stint on the soap opera General Hospital, where she played Amanda Barrington from 1984 to 2004. Mary Bryan. This is an oldie. 100 years ago at the time of this video. Yes, fun seekers, this photo comes from 1925. I don't know about you, but I think it's cool that a picture this old can still be seen and appreciated. Mary Bryan was a popular actress during the silent film era, and she did make a successful transition to sound films. Her very first movie was Peter Pan from 1924, where she played Wendy. At the time, she was actually 18 years old. She's a very pretty actress, and retained her youthful appearance for a long time. One of the coolest things she did, in my opinion, is play the mom on the sitcom Meet Corliss Archer. That series, in its entirety, was well written and well acted, and Mary was a big part of it. Adele Jurgens. She was a knockout blonde actress who, despite her popularity, had a relatively short acting career from 1943 to 1956. She was a model and dancer who made the successful transition into acting, although in the early years, she found it hard to break out of floozy roles. She became very popular for her pin-up type photos. Although best known for her photos in films, she had a very notable recurring role in the TV sitcom I Married Joan, where she played the nemesis of Joan Davis. Adele's character, Helen Kavanaugh, bothered Joan so much that she was even mentioned in episodes she never appeared in. That's a great sitcom anyway, but the Helen Kavanaugh episodes are must-sees. Nancy Walters. She started out as a model for many years, and ultimately became a game show girl in 2 game shows, The Big Payoff and Strike It Rich. By the late 1950s, she worked hard to polish her acting skills, and was in her first film by 1960. In 1961, she got a very notable role as the other woman in the Elvis movie Blue Hawaii. After that, she did a lot more movies and appeared on a lot of TV shows, but quit acting in 1967. After her husband died in Vietnam, she became a minister. At the risk of sounding corny or deep, I always think it's interesting to see how the lives of these actresses play out and the different paths they take. Certainly, becoming an ordained minister is not an obvious career choice for an actress to make. Most of the actresses I've ever known personally went into nursing or realty when their show business careers were over. Or at the very least, they marry a rich guy. Lynn Merrick. Last but not least is this beautiful actress reminding you to mark the date on your calendar. Lynn's acting career was mainly in the 1940s, although her last acting roles were in 1955. Much of what she appeared in was westerns, although she also appeared in some comedies and detective movies. She had a naturally sultry look that worked in her favor. That's all for now. I hope your Valentine's Day is special. I've shown you a lot of sexy, interesting women, but you should always be sure to treat your woman like a babe of the day, babe of the day.